Properties of generative grammar. Chomsky has argued that many of the properties of generative grammar arise from an innate universal grammar. Innate universal grammar, the grammar that is in our mind, we are hardwired with, right? And that is common to all people in the world. So then he talks about certain properties of generative grammar, that the grammar must generate all the well-formed syntactic structures of the language and fail to generate any ill-formed structure. I mean, generative grammar should give us rules. With the help of those rules, we should be able to generate well-formed sentences which are correct in that language and not ill-formed which are incorrect in that language. And whenever the speaker of that language listens to those sentences, he or she must conform to those sentences as correct or incorrect sentences. For example, we know that in English we have NP and VP and NP. So any sentence which has NP, NP and VP is an incorrect in English. Second property is that grammar will have a finite number of rules but will be capable of generating an infinite number of well-formed structures. We all know the rules of grammar are limited, right? You can think of this in terms of the books of grammar that you can have with you. So they are limited. We have very few structures in the language. There are 6 or 7 structures of sentences in English language. But on those structures, we can make limitless sentences, right? So this second property is that with infinite number, with limited number, we can make unlimited sentences. The productivity of language would be captured within the grammar. I mean, whatever new types of sentences we produce, they will all conform to the rules of the grammar, to the finite number of rules in the language. Other property is the rules of this grammar also need the crucial property of recursion. Recursion means repeatable any number of times. That is that if we have certain rules, for example, a prepositional phrase consists of a preposition and a noun phrase, and we have a sentence like he's sitting in his room. In his room, it's a prepositional phrase, and now we can add he's sitting in his room of his house, and we can make many more prepositional phrases in this way, and they will be correct. So this property of language or generative grammar is known as recursion. The grammar will have to capture the fact that a sentence can have another sentence inside it. For example, we make a sentence that John has seen that Harry went to his house. So we have a sentence within a sentence. So this is quite common, or we can say he says that he's going to see his uncle. So a sentence within a sentence. So this is another property of the generative grammar, that we can have sentence within a sentence. Grammar should also be capable of revealing the basis of 2 other phenomena. Somehow, superficially distinct sentences are closely related. So, number one, the first phenomenon is that differently appearing at the structure level, sentence may be similar or closely related. For example, Charlie broke the window was broken by Charlie. So, at surface, these 2 sentences are different in structure, right? But at another level, they are the same, right? So this generative grammar help us knowing that at what level they are similar. How some superficially similar sentences are in fact distinct. So for example, if we look at these sentences, the king is easy to please. So in this sentence, the king can be pleased. King is like object, right? And the second sentence, the king is eager to please. Here the king is the one who is to please, right? So in these two sentences, we can very well see that the structure of the sentence is same, right? But the semantics, the meaning, or the function of the phrases is different. In the first sentence, the king is, in fact, the receiver of the action. And in the second sentence, the king is the doer of the action. So, in generative grammar, we get answers why this is so, why two similarly looking structures are different, and why two differently looking structures are similar. So these are some of the properties of generative grammar.